All right, we'll talk about part 3 real briefly, making a web video of yourself, which is probably what you're watching right now. This can be a big, somewhat expensive production, hiring a professional video studio to do, like if you were, somebody like Ford Motor Company or General Motors or whoever. The opposite extreme, which is what I'm doing right now, is you basically sit yourself down in front of a digital camcorder. You put your remote in your hand, which up in the right corner has the record pause button, and you push the record button and the camera starts running and your mouse starts running, and here you are making your own web video. And then basically you import it when you've got that video made. You import it into a video editing movie such as iMovie, which runs on the Apple Macintosh, or there's other programs, and I think Windows has a Windows Video Maker or something like that. But you import it into a consumer level video editing program, similar to a word processing program. I tell people editing video is something like, if you haven't done it, I tell people editing video is something like word processing when you're drunk. It's kind of like word processing, but everything is kind of really weird comparatively, but it works kind of the same idea. Here we're looking at the computer screen showing a movie project. The first two things I've talked about, your web page on a blog, number one, and the second, your forwarding domain name, those essentially work pretty much the same whether you're using a Mac or using a Windows machine. This is a Macintosh computer I'm using here. Now, at part 3 about the movie, that's where movie making, that's where it does get different depending on what platform you're using. I'm using iMovie, which is a program written for the Macintosh computer. It's part of the iLife package, which sells for $70 or something like that. There's similar programs that run on Windows. Generally, most people seem to think the Macintosh has the edge for easy to use, software for movie editing, but you can do this on Windows. My personal opinion is all these two computers are too complicated and too trouble prone. The Mac has enough problems to drive you crazy. It's just, in my opinion, Windows has even more problems, so I basically recommend a Mac if anybody asks me. Anyways, back to this movie. If you think of these clips in the bottom would be equivalent to your paragraphs, if you're in a word processing document, like if you can see where the cursor is, I've currently got that clip highlighted, and that's what shows up in the window here. If I start this, you hear this gentleman talking.
Okay, we have several main areas of the layout. One of them is right here. This is supposed to represent the Millville Carnival.
Now, see, if I stop this, I can actually split this clip here. I'm going to do a command which says split the clip at the playhead, and if you watch down where the cursor is here, you might be able to see the clip will actually split in two. Now, again, equivalent to word processing, if this was a word processor, you can drag parts of one paragraph into another paragraph. I'm going to drag this clip over here and put it between these two clips. And now I've got him. Let's go look at that now, what it says. I'll replay it.
Okay, we have several main areas of the layout. One of them is right here. This is supposed to represent the Millville Carnival. As you can see,
there you can see I'm not sure this is obvious or not, I did a cut and paste. I took I split the original clip, split it up, and then I dragged a night scene over and essentially put it in the middle of the original split clip. Again, kind of the equivalent of a cut and paste in word processing, but instead of moving paragraphs of text around, I'm moving parts of clips around. You can do all kinds of things with these, which is way beyond the scope of this 10-minute video, but just to give you an idea. Once you've got your video made, you can upload it to YouTube, which it's a format basically anybody can play, or you can put it on your own site as a QuickTime Movie. I've done some of both. The advantage of YouTube is anybody can play it with no special software. The disadvantage is you're limited to 10 minutes length. The QuickTime Movie, the advantage of that is it can go as long as it needs to. I've got some that run, I think, 48 minutes long. The disadvantage is people have to have QuickTime Player on their computers to see it. QuickTime Player it comes standard on all Macintoshes. It's a free download from Apple to put it on a Windows computer, but in the Williamsport area, people here getting this downloaded and working on their Windows machine seems to be a problem sometimes. So there's pluses and minuses to both ways of going at. A few notes, let's say a few notes about the camcorder itself. And again, I'm not an expert. Again, I probably maybe know 1% of what there is to know, but a few basic things right now I recommend, and this is as of June 2007, you get a mini DV tape camcorder, not a DVD camcorder, and not a hard drive camcorder. The reason I say that is the computers are set up to import from mini DV tape camcorders, and people tell me they don't always work well with the DVD camcorders and the hard drive camcorders. The DVD camcorder, they tell me, actually compresses it when it puts it on the DVD. So that's another thing you don't want. You don't want to work with compressed video in your editing program. You want pure uncompressed video to pull from the camcorder into your movie program. And you'd like to have a camera that can import external audio. I should say has an external audio connection, so you can put a chest or microphone on the person. I don't have one. I'm speaking right into the camcorder, but I've got a nice quiet room here. If you're in a crowd, having one of these clip-on microphones is nice, and you need a camcorder with an external audio connection to do that. Likewise, it's nice to have a camcorder with an external video input, or I should say an auxiliary video input, so you can plug a VHS tape player into the camcorder, go through the camcorder into the computer. You would do this if you were like digitizing old VHS tapes and converting them into digital form and editing them. So you need an auxiliary video connection to do that. And again, some of the camcorders don't have that. Finally, you'd like a low lux light rating on your camcorder. Mine's about a 7, which is not real good. They go down as low as 1, I believe, or somewhere around 1. If you're trying to film like a ballroom dance situation where typically the lights are lower, and I've run into this problem, the camcorder doesn't get enough light. I'd really like to have a camcorder with a better lux rating than this one has. So those are just some of the basics from camcorders. And this information comes courtesy of Slater Harrison, who teaches the iMovie class at the Jersey Shore Middle School, where I got started with all this. And if I said anything wrong, that's not Slater's fault. I'm probably just distorting it. Hopefully the advantage of having yourself live on video should be obvious. Watching me sitting here today, you might be saying, wow, that James Ingram's got to be one of the most boring speakers I've ever heard. I've been told that before, that listening to me is a good substitute for taking a sleeping pill. But apply this case to your own situation. People who know you, could sit there and say, oh, wow, there's Joe Smith live, or there's Mary Jane Smith live. I didn't know they were such a good speaker. Look how dynamic they are. You can see it actually, brings some of your personality right live to the video in the user's into the user's computer room.